The airport buzzed with life. Loudspeaker announcements echoed above a sea of hurried footsteps. Children clutched onto their parents, travelers juggled luggage and coffee, and security officers nodded routinely to passengers as conveyor belts rolled forward with bags, backpacks, and briefcases. Nothing seemed unusual. It was just another busy morning at Langford International. Same crowds, same long lines, same procedures. But sometimes the most unforgettable stories begin where everything seems utterly normal. In the middle of it all, something, or rather, someone, was about to notice the tiniest detail no one else would. A detail so quiet, so still, it would have gone unnoticed, had it not been for him. A calm voice lingers in the background. No one knew that today. A silent guardian was about to change everything without making a sound. Rocco wasn't like other security dogs. He didn't bark, he didn't jump, he didn't react with loud alerts or frantic movement. Instead, his silence spoke louder than any siren. A 7-year veteran of the airport K9 unit, Rocco had built a reputation that few could rival. He had sniffed out explosives hidden in double-sealed bags. He'd caught drug smugglers trying to disguise their payload in baby formula. He was precise, predictable, disciplined, a silent master of detection. Handlers often joked he had a sixth sense. But today, that sixth sense didn't follow the script. While his handler guided him through the crowd, Rocco seemed uninterested in the usual checkpoints. He walked past passengers without a sniff. He ignored luggage, breezed past the food carts, and didn't even glance at the man who smelled faintly of gunpowder, a detail he would normally never miss. Something was off. Rocco wasn't distracted. He wasn't tired. He was focused. But on something else entirely. He wasn't barking. He wasn't moving fast. He was simply waiting, watching, listening. And then he stopped. But not where anyone expected. And that's where everything began. Everything seemed normal, at first. Travelers rushed past security, dragging luggage, checking boarding passes, and murmuring their way through lines. But Officer Lana, a seasoned handler with years of experience, couldn't shake a strange feeling rising in her chest. Rocco, her loyal canine partner, wasn't acting like himself. He usually had a sharp instinct, laser-focused on threats, never missing a scent. But today, he was different. He sniffed bags only briefly, ignored passengers that typically would have made him stop, and moved with a distracted gait. His tail didn't wag, nor did he show signs of alertness. Lana frowned, glancing at the other officers who had started to notice his odd behavior too. One of them chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. Maybe he's done with the job. Time for retirement, huh? But Lana didn't laugh. Rocco had never misread a situation, not in 7 years, and then it happened. Rocco halted abruptly, his muscles tensing, eyes locked on something ahead. But it wasn't a shady passenger or an unclaimed suitcase. It was a small pink teddy bear. Worn out, missing an eye, lying near an empty bench as if forgotten in a hurry. To anyone else, it was just a child's toy. But to Rocco, it was something else entirely. He froze, let out a low growl, something he rarely did, and then sat down beside it, refusing to move. His body was stiff, alert, as if the stuffed toy posed a threat. Passers-by didn't notice the shift, but Lana did. Her pulse quickened. She knew Rocco's silence wasn't just hesitation, it was a warning. Something wasn't right, and deep down, she could feel it. This wasn't just about a toy. It was the beginning of something much, much bigger. The officers around Officer, Lana couldn't help but chuckle. A dog sniffed a toy? Really? They exchanged amused glances, their skepticism clearly evident. After all, it was just a teddy bear, a harmless, discarded object. They brushed it off, trying to shake the tension in the air. But Lana wasn't laughing. Something about Rocco's unrelenting focus, his refusal to move, his growl, didn't sit right with her. She stood tall, a sense of urgency creeping up her spine. "No," she insisted firmly. "We're checking it. Now." Her voice left no room for doubt. Even if it seemed trivial, the K-9's instincts had never failed them before. This teddy bear wasn't just any forgotten item. The officers hesitated, but complied, rolling their eyes as they fetched the bear, still wrapped in the soft, worn fabric. But the sense of unease didn't leave Lana. She couldn't shake the thought that the seemingly innocent toy was somehow tied to something much darker. The teddy bear was carefully placed on the conveyor belt leading into the X-ray scanner. Lana and a few others stood at the ready, watching the screen intently. The usual hum of the scanner filled the room, until the image flashed up on the monitor. Lana's heart skipped a beat. What was once a fluffy, innocuous toy now appeared strangely dense. The X-ray revealed a metallic shape nestled deep inside the stuffing, carefully sewn in with alarming precision. The image zoomed in on the foreign object. There was no mistaking it. It was too structured, too solid. Panic began to crawl up Lana's throat. This was no ordinary bear. The realization hit hard and fast. "Get senior officers, now!" Lana's voice was steady but urgent. Her mind raced, each second dragging her deeper into disbelief. Was this some kind of twisted plan? Whoever had left the toy there knew exactly what they were doing. It wasn't just a harmless stuffed animal anymore. It was a potential weapon. Before anyone could say another word, the alarm sounded. It wasn't the usual calm airport announcement. It was the harsh, urgent blare of a lockdown siren. The sound echoed through the terminal, sending a ripple of fear through the crowded hall. Loudspeakers now announcing, "Terminal C, lockdown." "Initiated," the voice blared over the speakers. Panic spread like wildfire. Travelers who had been moving about without a care suddenly froze. Eyes widened. Phones were pulled out in confusion, trying to make sense of the chaos unfolding around them. Security personnel, now on high alert, rushed into position, ushering people away from potential danger. The emergency protocols kicked in, doors sealed, barriers lowered. The air was thick with tension. As passengers scrambled to the safety of designated areas, the gravity of the situation became clear. The teddy bear was just the beginning of something much more dangerous. Something Lana knew was about to unfold in ways no one could have anticipated. The bomb squad arrived within minutes, their faces grim with the weight of the situation. Lana stood at a distance, watching as the experts surrounded the teddy bear, their gloves steady but cautious. They worked swiftly, yet with a precision that spoke of their deep experience. Each movement was calculated, ensuring nothing triggered the potential disaster that lay hidden inside the soft exterior of the toy. As the experts carefully dismantled the bear, their eyes widened in recognition. It wasn't just a toy. It was a sophisticated device, far more deadly than anyone had anticipated. The bomb wasn't just rigged to explode on its own. It was a remote-controlled device, complete with a transmitter wired neatly within the plush stuffing. The transmitter could be activated from a distance, turning the teddy bear into a ticking time bomb. The bomb squad leader spoke in low tones to his team, but the severity of his words was clear to anyone listening. "This thing has enough power to take out the entire terminal if it goes off. We need to get this thing defused immediately." The sense of danger escalated, knowing that just moments ago, the bear had been sitting innocently near the benches, unnoticed by most. Lana's pulse raced as she stood frozen, staring at the dismantled pieces of the toy. The implications were horrifying. How close had they been to disaster? She couldn't stop herself from thinking of what might have happened if Rocco hadn't stopped at that exact moment. The potential loss of life, the destruction that could have been unleashed. It was almost too much to comprehend. Back at the command center, the investigation was intensifying. CCTV footage from every angle was being scrutinized. The small, cozy space, once filled with the usual airport activity, was now buzzing with the anxious hum of people trying to piece together a terrifying puzzle. Lana joined a team of investigators as they watched the grainy footage from the terminal. The screen flickered, showing the crowded waiting area as passengers moved about. There, amidst the chaos, a man in a dark coat could be seen approaching the bench where the teddy bear had been left. He moved with deliberate purpose, carefully placing the stuffed animal beside a child's unattended bag before walking away, without looking back. The man's movements were smooth, confident. There was no hesitation, no sign of nervousness. He knew exactly what he was doing, but the footage was too blurry to identify his face. Whoever he was, he had covered his tracks. Well, his appearance didn't match that of a typical traveler or anyone out of place in the airport. What stood out was his cool, calculated manner. Whoever he wasn't a stranger to covert operations. His skill in placing the device so close to a child's belongings made it all the more chilling. The unsettling thought gnawed at Lana. Who could have been behind this? And more importantly, why target a crowded public space like this? The image of the man, still faceless and unrecognizable, only added to the growing mystery. Someone had orchestrated this with precision, and they were still out there. As the bomb squad worked tirelessly to disarm the teddy bear, the forensic team was busy running tests on it. The results were chilling. They traced the toy back to a missing child case from 3 months ago, something that had haunted the community. The girl, named Emily, had been just 7 years old when she disappeared without a trace while playing near her home. Her case had gone cold, with no solid leads or suspects, and her parents, devastated, had been left clinging to the faintest hope. The revelation hit hard. The teddy bear was Emily's favorite, one she had carried everywhere. It had been with her when she vanished, and now, months later, it had reappeared in an airport terminal, part of a sinister plot. Authorities quickly theorized that the toy might have been used as a message, a symbol in a larger operation involving child trafficking. The realization that Emily's case might be connected to something much darker sent a ripple of unease through the investigative team. They had thought she was gone forever, her story another tragic chapter in a string of disappearances. But now, with the bear in their hands, there was a glimmer of hope that Emily might still be alive, somewhere, hidden away. Detective Harris, who had been assigned to the case from the beginning, paced back and forth, unable to shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of unraveling something far bigger than just a missing child case. The urgency of it all pressed down on him. They had to move quickly now. The connection between the teddy bear and Emily's disappearance couldn't be a coincidence. And if it wasn't, what did it mean for her fate? The discovery of Emily's teddy bear hit the authorities like a punch to the gut. Everyone had assumed the worst. The case was months old, and with every passing day, the likelihood of Emily being alive had dwindled. But now, the tiny, innocent toy had thrown everything into question. The possibility that she was still out there, somewhere, alive but in danger, reignited a fire of hope, one that hadn't been felt since the day she vanished. For Emily's parents, the emotional blow was almost too much to bear. They had been living in a state of grief, trying to move on with their lives, yet every day haunted by the memory of their missing daughter. When they were told the news about the teddy bear being found, they were overwhelmed. It felt like a cruel joke at first, then disbelief. Could their daughter really still be out there somewhere? Could this toy be a clue to her survival? Or was it some kind of final act, the last remnants of her presence? The fact that the bear had been used to plant a message or conceal her last traces added a layer of complexity to the investigation. Was Emily still alive, somewhere? And if so, who was behind the sinister game being played with her fate? Or had the bear been left deliberately to mislead the authorities and obscure the truth? These questions hung in the air, unanswered, leaving the entire investigation team struggling to make sense of it all. What if the bear wasn't just a warning, but a signal? One that would lead them to Emily if they could decipher it. As the news of Rocco's heroic actions spread like wildfire, it became the story of the day. Headlines blared, "Security Dog Stops Terror Attack." Social media was abuzz, with people praising the dog's incredible instinct and the bravery of Officer Lana. The media's attention was now fixed on Rocco. Interviews with Officer Lana were scheduled, and the story quickly became a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of danger. At the airport, the atmosphere had shifted from chaos to something far more heartwarming. Passengers, some who had been terrified just hours ago, now gathered around Rocco, wanting to express their gratitude. Children reached out to pet him, and adults, with tears in their eyes, hugged the dog tightly. His calm demeanor, even in the face of danger, had a profound impact on everyone who had witnessed his actions. For those who had been in the terminal, that day, Rocco wasn't just a service dog. He was a symbol of unwavering courage and loyalty. Emotional scenes played out across the airport, with people showing their appreciation for Rocco's dedication. It was more than just a rescue. It was the reminder that in times of crisis, the smallest gestures of courage, whether from humans or animals, can make all the difference. The bond between Officer Lana and Rocco was now highlighted, showing how a strong partnership between humans and animals could transcend the limitations of even the most high-tech security systems. In the wake of the incident, investigators were forced to admit something that seemed almost impossible to believe at first. If not for the dog, we would have walked past it. It was a humbling admission from a team of experts who had been trained to detect danger, identify threats, and stay ahead of potential risks. But in this case, it was Rocco's finely tuned instincts that had caught something no one else had noticed. The revelation was powerful, reminding everyone of the raw, unrefined intelligence that animals bring to the table, something that technology and human oversight often miss. While security systems had scanned for explosives and humans had passed by the teddy bear numerous times, it was Rocco's sharp senses that had detected the hidden danger. His growl, his refusal to move, his unwavering dedication to his task, all of it pointed to an incredible truth. Animals, in their own way, often understand things we can't. The incident served as a stark reminder of the role animals play in our lives, saving us in ways we might not even fully understand. In a world obsessed with technology and precision, Rocco proved that sometimes the simplest instincts can be the most accurate. It wasn't a bomb squad or the most advanced machinery that stopped a tragedy from unfolding. It was a dog. And that, in itself, was a powerful message. Never underestimate the depth of an animal's intuition. As investigators continued their meticulous inspection of the teddy bear, they discovered something that shifted the case into uncharted territory. Nestled deep within the stuffed toy, hidden in a pocket no one had thought to check, was a small, inconspicuous micro SD card. At first glance, it seemed insignificant, but when it was inserted into a computer, the contents sent shockwaves through everyone involved in the case. The blurry photo on the card was the most shocking part, the missing girl, alive, holding the teddy bear. But that wasn't the most disturbing detail. The date on the photo was just 2 days ago. The realization hit like a bolt of lightning. This wasn't just a keepsake from a vanished child. This was evidence of something far more unsettling. The girl, presumed dead by authorities, was very much alive. The photo was proof that she was still out there somewhere, and someone had been hiding her. The image raised more questions than it answered, igniting new fears about what had been going on behind closed doors. For law enforcement, this wasn't just a breakthrough. It was a game changer. What had once seemed like a tragic cold case was now a race against time. Could the girl still be alive? Was she being kept captive? Or was there a chance for her to be rescued? As the implications of the new evidence sank in, the urgency of the situation became palpable. Rocco's actions had unwittingly opened up a door to a whole new chapter in the investigation. With the discovery of the photo, law enforcement sprung into action once again.
The blurry image wasn't just a symbol of hope, it was a roadmap. After analyzing the background details, agents began to identify potential locations based on recognizable landmarks. Every clue now had a renewed sense of importance, and the
investigation was immediately reactivated with new urgency. This was no longer about a missing child case. It was about saving a life, and the clock was ticking. What had started as a routine day at the airport had evolved into a race against time to locate a girl who had been lost for months. The authorities quickly mobilized, contacting local units, expanding their search radius, and coordinating with international agencies. The renewed search wasn't just about finding the girl, it was about uncovering a hidden world of secrets and potentially rescuing her from whatever fate she had been subjected to. For Officer Lana and Rocco, the mission had taken a new, deeply personal turn. They had stopped a disaster from unfolding, but now they had the chance to save a life, and they weren't going to let anything stand in their way. As the media blitzed the airport with news of the foiled attack, Rocco was the center of attention for just a fleeting moment. People hugged him, tears filled their eyes, and praises echoed through the terminal. He had done what no one else could. He had prevented a disaster. But amidst all the commotion, Rocco remained unbothered. No medals were draped over his shoulders. No spotlight shone on his noble face. He simply wagged his tail, calmly accepting the admiration without a hint of ego. For him, it wasn't about recognition or glory. It was just another shift, another day on the job. For Officer Lana, his quiet dignity was a reminder of the deep bond between humans and animals. Rocco wasn't there for the praise. He was there to serve, to protect, and to do what he was trained to do. He didn't need an audience or a trophy to know he had made a difference. His victory was silent, but profound. As the case closed and the airport slowly returned to normal, a powerful message lingered in the air. Sometimes it's the quiet ones who see the loudest truths. In a world full of noise and chaos, it's often those who don't demand attention that make the biggest impact. Rocco was living proof of that. Animals like him aren't just companions, they're guardians. Their instincts, often overlooked or underestimated, can save lives in ways we could never imagine. Rocco, with his silent watchfulness and unyielding dedication, had stopped a disaster, and all with no words, no fanfare, just his presence and unwavering focus. One teddy bear, one silent dog, and the world was spared from a catastrophe. Sometimes, the most profound heroes are the ones who don't seek recognition, but simply act when needed most. And in this case, Rocco was the unsung guardian whose quiet bravery saved countless lives. What would have happened if no one listened to Rocco? Would the disaster have been averted? Do you believe animals can sense things that humans can't? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories that make your heart race and your eyes tear up.